Hey guys, another review. This time is gonna be second seeded racket in my tournament of racket selection. Quite exciting. I've been maining this racket for quite a while now, so I know it quite well. This racket is quite specific, not many can use it to the full potential. Endorsed by Shapovalov, but now I've seen him playing with the E-Zone 98, probably looking for a bit more forgiveness and power. Carousel was using it before switching to 100D. Another example of searching for a bit more forgiveness and power. We have Standeman using the Vcore family. Obviously, he's endorsing the Percept line. From interesting facts, we also have Iga Świątek's sparring partner using Vcore line for quite a while. It's a great racket, only to be used by those who are willing to commit. Let's start from the positives. First of all, it is probably the most forgiving 95 square inches racket on the market, and the user friendliness of this frame is quite amazing given it's a 95 head size. The specs are quite light, so the frame is very fast, so your reaction could be great with this frame. So it's not only great on hard court but also on clay, where you need some acceleration to get spin. Your reaction time is better, so it's maybe easier to time the ball and play on the rise. So that's one positive. Another positive is that it's a control-oriented racket within the spin category of frames within Yonex. 95 square inches head size gives you a lot of control, so let's say confidence to accelerate. Low specs give you access to this acceleration, but at the same time the mains are spread a bit wider, so you get more spin from 20 crosses, because Vcore 95 has 16 by 20 string pattern. It kind of limits the power potential, takes it back a bit, gives you this unique combination of spin and control. Control mainly because the frame itself is quite anemic, I would say. In my opinion, most players will customize this frame, most advanced players, and only advanced players should probably use it. But at the same time, Yonex kind of wanted to be accessible to a larger group of people, so they lowered the specs to the point where everyone can use it, but it's a 95, so can they really use it compared to the 98 square inches rackets on the market? Hard to say. I think they would need to focus on endorsements to really show the excitement and the story of the racket, to really widen the fan base of the frame. I would say that most players that decide to purchase the frame know exactly what they want. Usually it's a control with spin, so yeah, they seek confidence, but they want to apply pressure to the other side, mainly through being consistent and mainly through different variety of shots that they can play, because with the main spread so wide, the launch angle is kinda high, but with the 95 square inches head size and 20 crosses, you kind of get the control and sense of what you're doing with the ball. Yeah, you can play flat and you can play a loopy ball up and down, so it's quite unique on the market. Not many frames play like this. I would say Angel TC95 comes to my mind, and Diadem Elevate family, and maybe Head Extreme Pro. And then there's it. Frame is quite unique. I think for the spin potential it's great. I would prefer a bit more stability, and that's where I have issues with such frames like 95 head sizes with, let's call it, anemic specs. Most advanced players who can play with the Vcore 95 will add lead to the racket, seeking more plow through and maybe stability. and maybe both. And if you're seeking both plow through and stability, then you add mass to the head, and then you want to add some mass back to the handle to make it headlight back again. And it can be a very frustrating process looking for your specs, and most advanced players are used to playing with heavier frames. However, Yonex may be kinda reacted to this, because if you're comparing it to the frames from the past, Vcore 95 frames, you kinda see a slight bump in swing wave with this recent release. I tested the previous version, and I think this one is better, mainly with the feel of the ball and maybe launch angle. Previous version was kind of muted, with the ball lounging a bit higher. This one is a bit more direct, I would say, which is a positive, because let's be honest, it's a 95 head size, so you are looking for this direct feel and ability to shape the ball to your wish. So that's how I fell in love with the concept of 95 square inches head size rackets, because the feel improves so much that you kinda know what to do to achieve what you want. One thing I would like to be improved by the future 95 Vcore, it would be dropping this one cross string. I think that Vcore 95 should be 16 by 19 string pattern, mainly for two things. One, because Vcore is a spin category of rackets, so dropping this cross string gives you more spin, more forgiveness, more power, and because it's a 95, you already have a lot of control, so adding a bit more forgiveness and power and spin would benefit this frame, I would say. And maybe with dropping this cross string, Yonex wouldn't have to bump up the static wave or swing wave to make it playable at stock form. Of course, it's playable at stock form, but it's not as competitive in stock form compared to some other frames. That's why I mentioned most advanced players will have to customize it. Otherwise, they will be just pushed around. It's just harder to apply pressure with such light specs. If they really wanna stick with the 1620 string pattern, I would say they should introduce 1620 string pattern to their Vcore 98. I think Fonseca is using this pro stock Vcore 98 with 1620 string pattern, and I've seen some pro stocks around in challengers. It is making more sense to me, because yeah, you have a bit more power and spin, and let's say maybe stability from the bigger head size, then give back this control with extra cross string. The racket itself is not as anemic as a 95 head size, so you kinda have better balance of power, control, spin. Vcore 95 kinda wants to be a spin-oriented racket, but it's not entirely a spin-oriented racket. It kinda wants to be forgiving, but it's not entirely forgiving. So yeah, I think this extra cross string kinda limits the potential of the Vcore 95. My demo test was so positive. I think the best string so far in this frame was actually Yonex Polytour Pro. Maybe because the string itself is kinda soft, but it's a 125 string gauge, so you kinda have this control, sense of forgiveness from the softness. Yeah, it suits the racket very well. Another cool string was Tecnifibre Razor Coat. You have a bit more connection to the ball because the string itself is stiffer. It's a bit more crunchy in feel, and Polytour Pro is a bit more softer, pillowy. Obviously, tension go low because you have to be looking for power with the Vcore 95, but not to the point where the ball kind of launches on you. It's tricky, and that's why I said it's a very specific frame. not for everybody. It's hard to say if it's for flat hitters or spin oriented players, because it's kind of for both. With the 95 you can hit really flat. It shines on backhands. On forehand you can really shape the ball. The string spacing is very unique, but you have this extra cross string to kind of limit back the spin and power. So it's such a unique racket that I think it's tricky to play with, but once you learn how to play with it, then it's one of the best frames on the market. Very fun to play with. My sparring partner actually said that I should be playing with this frame. Performance of the frame is very unique, and the ability to apply pressure while feeling kinda in control of everything is very good. So my sparring partner said that even though I maybe make some more errors with this frame, my regular shots are a bit more tricky for him to handle. So that's actually what I'm looking for. Most players, if they're looking at the Vcore 95, will probably be looking also at the Percept 97. Percept 97 has a bit less spin than the Vcore 95, with smaller head size and tighter string pattern. I mean tighter by minimalizing the head size and adding one cross string, but the spacing of the mains is a bit wider. So also the design of the frame gives Vcore 95 more spin potential. Percept 97, even though 16-19 string pattern, is offering you more control, maybe less power, but it's not direct power. It's just the type of response that gives you less power. If that makes any sense. Because with the Vcore 95, the ball kinda sinks in the string bed and then shoots off, kinda like a catapult effect. The Percept 97 is kinda harder on the contact. It kinda soaks in all the power from the ball, and then you can give your own. Yeah, ability to apply pressure or total control of the game and your shots. Less unforced errors, more forced errors on the other side. That's quite a pickle. I would be very much interested in a hybrid of those two rackets, because I love the control of the Percept 97. I love the ability to apply pressure from regular shots with the Vcore 95. That's the uniqueness of this frame. I don't see much sense not customizing Vcore 95 with such light specs. Yeah, so you can call it a platform frame, and then you can do everything you want with such light starting specs. The group of players that can really use it to the full potential gets smaller, I would say, because not many players are willing to customize the frame to their needs. I think if you have fast hands, then it will perform better for you. I kind of have a more traditional strokes, so I accelerate kind of gradually and I hit more through, even though I apply pressure with my wrist motion, but it's not an aggressive movement. So yeah, I'm a tricky playtester. So that's it for the review. Guys, please subscribe, leave a comment, say hello, and see you soon with another review. Bye bye.